Okay, so next we are going to look at how to create HTML lists. A list is something like you have a list of items. So you can create a list that has numbers, or even you can use a list that has bullets. So let's get started. So the code for the list is simply UL, the UL tag, then you close the UL tag, then inside you put the list items, LI, you close the tag, then these are the items. For example, food. Let me copy and paste to avoid typing again. So that is our list. Tea, coffee. Save changes, go back, refresh. So then you see my list is over here. It has bullets. What if I want to create a list that has numbers? To create a list that has numbers, I just change this UL to OL, meaning ordered list. Sorry, that's 0, but I mean O. OL, open and close. So the list items remain the same. So this means ordered list. Save changes, refresh. So you can see now my list has numbers. Next we are going to look at creating tables. Okay, now how do we create a table? Let me put it here up so that you can follow properly here. So let me say table. I close the tag, table. Then the table inside must have what we call a table row and a table row, closing. So inside each box is called a table data. Each cell, the one you call a cell, you could say box, it's called a table data. So I want in this row to have 3 boxes, or 3 cells. So let the table have a border. Let me say table border equals 1. Not pixels, nothing, it's just 1 or 2 or 3 and so on. Save, refresh. You see, this is a very small table. So because the table is small, like the picture, we can also give the table width, e.g. equals 20%, all pixels or 20 pixels and so on. So you see the table is becoming, but it has 1 row and 3 cells. So in this row each table data is a separate cell. So that is it. In the row we have 3 table data, which each represents a cell. Good. Now what if I want a table with many rows? I can type the same thing many times. Let it have 3 rows. So I just copied and pasted the table row 3 times. So let this be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not a must that you have to put these numbers, but those numbers represent information in that cell. If you don't put anything, like let me remove 9, this is what will happen. Actually nothing is happening, the cell remains intact, but in some browsers it will make this cell look like it doesn't look normal, but it's okay. Now you can see, even if I didn't put my numbers there, it seems this browser is good. It's showing me my table intact. So that is how you create a table. Supposing I remove the 1 and I put 0 for the border. See, now the table is there, but it is not having any boundary. Good. So that kind of thing. So you can align this information, but before we reach aligning, supposing you want the cells to be merged into one, there you say call span all row span. This is what I mean. Supposing I want these two cells to become one, so this is the first row. 1 2 3 represents the first row, 4 5 6 represents the second row, and 7 8 9 is the third row. So I want to join the first two cells of the first row. That is what I want to join. So what do I do? The first cell of the cells I want to join is where I put call span equals 2. What does this mean? It means that starting from this cell where I put the call span, join it with another cell, so that in total the joined cells become 2. That is it. Now I come and I delete the second. I save, refresh. You see, they have become 2. Now what if I want to join all these the 3 into one cell? I just say call span equals 3. I remove the other 2 because this one is going to cover 1 2 3, so I remove the others. But because it's covering 1 2 3, it's covering all the cells that exist in that row. So I save. It's a bit complicated, but when you get used to it, it becomes normal. Okay, let me bring them back and I remove this. I just was demonstrating. So you can also merge the rows. Now we've been merging this. In this row we've been merging the cells, but what if I want to merge this cell 1 and 4? Okay, let me say 4 and 7. I'm going to join these cells, these 4 and 7, into one. They are in different rows, remember. So what I do is I come in this cell, this time I say row span because I'm merging rows. I set 2. Then I remove this table data because I'm merging. There are 2. So that is how tables are. You can make it bigger by increasing its width to maybe 80%, like that. That is the width of the table. You can also increase the height of each cell, height equals 30%. So to give it a height, to give a cell a height, it has to have, if the table has a height, like let's say 50%, like this, see, the table has grown. That is 50% of the screen size. Now you can also give the individual boxes height. So this is 30%. Let me say another one also 30%, that is 60. Then this becomes 40. They have to add up to 100. If it's not that clear enough, let me say 10, 80. So you see this is 80%. So what I did, I went here in the first cell, that's the first TD of the first row, and I put height equals 10%. Then I went in the second row, the first cell, the first TD, and I put height is also 10%. Then I went in the third table row in the first TD, and I put height is 80%. 10 plus 10 plus 80 adds up to 100, whereby the 100 is the height of the entire table, because the height we said is 50% of the screen. So the heights have to add up. And because, why do I put only in the first table data of the row? Why don't I put here in the other subsequent table data? Because the table is equal size through, if I give the height of the first table data in each row, the others will inherit that height from the first table data of each row. So is the width. The table can have a width. You cannot put a width in the table data before you give a width to the table. So is the height. You cannot give a height to the table data before you give a table a height, whereby this is a percentage of the whole screen. So it works like that. Now let me demonstrate width. Because our table already has a width, I just come here in the first table data and I say, let's say 20%, then width of another table that this time the width of this width of the first table data, that is 1. Let me explain it like this. We've said the height of this is same as this, is same as this. So even if I only put here, the rest will fill the height of this, and we will know the table has to be equal and also take the same height. So is this and so is this. So now what of the column? The width of this will be taken up by those below it. That is 1, 4 and 7. The width of this will be taken up by those below, and the width of this column will also be taken up by those below. Because the table is equal through, I just put the width of this and it will be taken through by those in the same column. So this is a row, but this one is in the same column as 4 and 7. 2 is in the same column as 5 and 8, going downwards. 3 is in the same column with 6 and 9. This is what I mean. 1, 4 and 7. 2, 5 and 8. 3, 6 and 9. You can follow it and practice and say 1, 4, 7. That means the column is the first table data, the first table data, and the first table data in another row, in another table row. The second the second table data, the second table data, and the second table data will all have the same width. You get it? So the third table data, and the third table data of each of the separate rows. So that means I only put width in the first table row. For height, I have to put in each and every first table data of each separate row. But for width, I will only put in only the first table data of the first row. That is for width. So if this is 20, let me say this is 10 and this is 70. Save, refresh. 20, 10, 70. So basically that is how a table can be done. Next, now you can also, there are some things you can put in this table. Some of them are not important, but you can give a color, like the table row big color equals gray. That stands for background color. Big color equals, what kind of gray should I put? Is there anything like light gray? Yeah, now that's it. So that is the titles column. It can have a different color.